So are you doing this video or what?
But I got pink eye. I don't want to record today. I'm not going to look too pretty on camera.
Just cover your eyes. Here, wear these shades.
You want me to wear that? Fine. You said this wasn't recording, right?
I think I turned off the camera.
Welcome to the Dreadful Minutes. My name is Rick. Yeah, I got my glasses today. I'm wearing it for fashion. Yeah, let's just go with that. So, we're going to be talking about Kerry King today. But before we dive in, just want to share something I'm infatuated with lately. And this is probably, it's only February. It's already my favorite Death Doom album of the year. So that's the latest Spectral Voice. This guy right here. Dark Descent headed out of the park once again. So as you guys know, their last album, the Eroded Corridors of Unbeing, came out back in 2017. This thing is probably considered one of the best albums of the 2010s. This guy right here. Cool little almost gatefold. The record kind of just folds right in here. Some people may find that annoying. I don't mind it so much. These guys are always trying to do things outside of normal convention, but man, just the sound is basically just the just the whole vibe of this album. So eerie, and they were able to replicate that once again with this. Really good packaging too, man. Like, it's very thick stock. Look at this thing. Very, very well done. Just creepy. Just look at that cover. So yeah. So love almost everything about it. What do I mean by almost? I'm just gonna nitpick on one thing. Sporagmos, name of this album. And my only issue is I hate saying that word. It's just not, it doesn't roll off the tongue very good. I know it's Greek, right? And it means to maim or dismember or something like that. Very fitting for this kind of material. Album's only 4 tracks. I think it's a little slow, but things really get going. My favorite track is the last one. Death Now Reigns in Eternity. But man, that word, Sporagmos. Come on, guys. So when people reference this album to me, I'm just going to call it the SpaghettiOs album. SpaghettiOs is easier to say than Sporagmos. So, yeah, Spectral Voice, you mean the SpaghettiOs album, right? And even like would fit nicely in here. You know, it's just where in that spot. Here, let me show you. See what I mean? No big deal. Also, SpaghettiOs can be pretty scary and gross too. Don't believe me? Roll the clip.
But see, when the babysitter looks more closely at the kids, she sees that they don't have any faces.
Oh my god!
It's just a pool of mushy goo.
Like SpaghettiOs?
SpaghettiOs with meat.
Ooh, yeah!
The babysitter, she screams and she turns to run. But there's this big, giant...
See what I mean? Exactly. Some cool shit right here. I know that one of the members, so did you guys know about this? I seen this kind of floating around, and only to discover that one of the members here, Morris, which is the guitarist, Colin Trisky, I think his name is, and he put out a black metal project, a little demo back in 2021. It just shows you how talented these guys are. I mean, you guys, they're in Blood Incantation, Black Curse, Stormkeep, and a bunch of other stuff. So Natürgeist, Reinvigorated Terror. Look at this thing, man. If I would have told you this thing came out in 1994, you would have completely believed me. It just has that whole aesthetic. The guy completely nails it. One man thing. You can tell it's a passion project. I don't know if he's doing any more of this kind of stuff or if it's just a one-time kind of deal. But man, this is something that really would think came out from that time period. The production's not so raw that you cannot hear what's going on. It still captures that old era element of black metal. Let me look at that. down to the packaging. Oops, I just dropped it. But yeah, so good shit. If you see it around, definitely pick it up. It's definitely yeah, it's only was it 2 tracks? Yeah, 2 tracks. But yeah, Naturgeist sounds German, but it's not. Colorado boy. But good shit right here. So yeah, just wanted to share that with you guys, and back to our regularly scheduled program. Kerry King, man, you guys. So the single for Idle Hands came out, and the band retired their name. I could show the sticker around. So why they named the Idle Hands, not really sure, but I had a few thoughts. And the thing is, there's been tons of videos already made about people's thoughts and opinions and comments about just what they thought about the single. And the consensus has been that it's not exactly original, and that it sounds like something that was off the Repentless sessions. And I can't say I disagree with a lot of what people were saying. So why am I making a video on this if people have been just talking about this to death? So I kind of just wanted to give my thoughts on just on the guy in general. It just made me bring up some points that I felt like other people were not bringing up about this. So the album is called From Hell I Rise, and it comes out May 17th. So regardless of what people are maybe saying about this, it's still a very anticipated album. So it's got a pretty good lineup. You got Mark from Death Angel, Paul's Boslov's back, on the kit, and just Phil Demo. I mean, this is on paper, everything should work. People should just be completely excited, and I think that's probably why everybody has checked out the single. And the thing is, there's another side to this story. I think the overall package, like the album art, people felt like it was a bit generic. It's just kind of, it looks like something you see in the graphic tee when you go to like the dangerous part of Walmart and you go to in the back and you see the shirts. So, but Kerry King has been around a long time. He's been in the scene way back in the heyday, man. And you could say that we expected more from this material. And this is a guy who's really been in one main band. He's done a lot of guest appearances and contributed to other projects here and there, but we know him as the guy from Slayer, the other guitarist. And we already felt the band has been waning for years, just completely waning with just the quality of the output that they've been just materializing. Not everybody may agree. Some people may like every single piece of material Slayer's ever put out. I'm not one of those people, even though I still have those albums that I don't really spin as often. But Kerry King to me is somebody that, regardless of what he does going forward, I would always have some due respect for him, because he's one of the people that really helped me get into extreme metal. At least on the US side, the thing with the satanic imagery and everything else was still rather taboo during the period when that band first dropped on the scene, and was still considered dangerous music. But as time went on, they got to be recognized as one of the big 4 bands, right? Along with Metallica, Slayer, Megadeth, and whatnot. And they gotten big. They weren't this dangerous band anymore. They were this band that was putting out music that was accessible for a lot of metalheads, because it was being exposed in such a way where everybody can go out and just buy a Slayer record with no issue. So it wasn't so underground anymore. And as you get to this new single, it's far from underground, clearly, with all the marketing push behind it. And and I think that's the problem for a lot of people, is that it sounds too modern for what it was. And I think there's a lot of weight being put on Kerry King's shoulders, to carry this thing, because his name is literally on this project, even though it's kind of half of Slayer, you know what I mean? We're seeing this thing happening right now with Pantera. You got Phil and Rex, which is kind of half of Pantera, in a way, and they're touring, doing these shows, trying to keep that energy alive, even though they're not pushing this as a new project. It's kind of just a spirited reunion to, give something to their fans. And I feel like people want something a little bit like this out of the Kerry King project. They want to harness those old days, you know, which, guys, it's not coming back. You know, Slayer is done. You know, the thing about is these legacy bands is, you know, Tom Araya is retired from this, man. He doesn't want to do this anymore. He's literally a grandfather, right? So I feel like we're at a point now where a lot of these bands in metal in particular, we're reaching a sort of a point where bands have long these careers much longer than we could have imagined. You know, when these guys started out these bands, they did not imagine they'd be doing this for another 20 years, 30 years. You know, that in of itself is an achievement. You know, the last decade was when Black Sabbath finally hung it up. Finally hung it up. Now Ozzy Osbourne himself is already going to be hanging this up. You know, it's just we reached that point. These guys need to retire. A lot of these guys feel like they've done all they can do. There's nothing new they can add to what they've already done. They already have their legacy and it's cemented. Kerry King, I think, has done his part there. But I feel like whereas Tom is retiring in this, Kerry feels like he's just beginning his career with the material that he wants to do, the energy output that he does. I don't know. I feel like a lot of weight has been put on Geoff Hanneman as far as the more creative side of Slayer, as far as the guitar duties, more than Kerry in a lot of ways. I've seen Slayer live, and you know they've been a little hit or miss for me. You know, I think I've been to one show where it was quite a little lower energy than I expected, but I've seen them on their good days too. And you know, but this is a band that loves what they do. You know, but you know, with the loss of Geoff and you know the falling out they had with Dave Lombardo, you know, it just wasn't there, man. The band themselves were not. They were not bros like this. They were not hanging out after their between seasons of making albums. You know, these guys go back and they separate and go back to their houses and don't really talk to each other much outside of the business of the music they were doing. And in a way, that's kind of disheartening, but at the same time, that's what happened. The energy of, yeah, let's get together and make this awesome fucking band, you know, and it's gonna be fucking great, and that went away, man. The moment they signed these deals and it started becoming a product, you know, when you're a small band, you're still in the demo stages, you know, you're just hungry. But when you got to produce product, like these guys have been, you know, they've been known to also cave in under trends, you know. Just look at albums like Diablos in Musica and you know, God Hates Us All. You know, it's just wasn't their strongest material. And I think it was also an element of having to put out product, you know. But now the fans want good music once again, and I think it feels like a lot of unfair weight being put on their shoulders, high expectations, because we as metal fans are so fucking rabid, man. We're so rabid, and at the same time, there's an element of gatekeeping also with this, and so I have mixed feelings and reactions to this. I'm gonna withhold more judgment until the album drops. You know, it is just a single, but I think a lot of people were very, very underwhelmed by this. Kerry King is a great guitarist. You know, he can definitely has the ability to produce something really, really good. He's got a good team behind him. But the creativity, the songwriting has to be strong to keep us interested with his reinvigorated career, you know, going forward, definitely. But at the same time, you know, this is a guy who's, you know, has been wanting to do this for a long time. It's wanting to keep going. He doesn't want to retire. But as far as for metalheads, shit, man, like look at a guy like Glenn Tipton, right? Like the guy's like 76, I think. You know what I mean? So he's on closer to the side of 80. And you know, so it shows you these guys can still keep going to some extent, you know. It's just like these guys can continue going into their careers up to the 70s. Kerry King, it's not even 60 yet. You know, he's late 50s, he's getting there. But he's got to go another 20, 30 years if he really wanted to, if he takes care of himself, you know. But I don't know if he would be able to go on that long. But So he's just doing what he can for now while he still can, you know. But you know, so for now, I support the guy. I've been a fan for years. I remember when I started picking up guitar and picked up my first Slayer tablature book. Holy shit, man. So, you know, when you pick up tablature books, it's just a bunch of notes, right? I've never seen so many zeros, you know, which is all the palm muting that they would do. And that was beyond, which it looks easy. It's just a bunch of zeros, right? No, you got to have the fucking speed and energy, you know what I mean? So you try to play Angel of Death, you know, it's just, you know, some of their faster songs, you know, it's crazy. And that was one of those bands early on, you know, when I was getting into metal that really fucking impressed me, man. He just kind of wowed me with just the shit that was new to my ears. It gave me a new introduction to what extreme really is. You know, when I thought Metallica was extreme, you know, then it's just another level with the imagery and everything. You know, we all remember the vivid imagery that Slayer was able to capture on their album covers. I think it's another reason why we were so harsh on this Kerry King single and the preview we got for the what's going to be the album cover. We're hitting this age now too, where you know things are being AI generated, and it's just like fuck, man. It's like we don't want to lose the heart in the art either. But I don't know. I think Kerry King himself, Kerry King the man, could have I don't know, done more interviews, been out there talking to people, being a little more visible. I think to gain just a more I don't know, bondness, kinship with the fans. I feel like he's been a little more removed, a little more aloof with connecting with the fans ever since Slayer called it quits. You know, you don't hear much from these guys. Like I said, these were guys who were doing their set, and then they go home and they separate their ways, you know, and they got too used to that routine. I think he said he hasn't talked to Tom Araya since 2019, right, or something like that. And him and Hanneman were not, but they were not bros like that, you know. That was disheartening to hear too, like I said earlier, you know. But you know, take a guy like Ola Anglin, right? Like, and he's got a really cool YouTube channel, you know, really good personality. Guy's fun, you know. He talks about guitar gear and everything else. And you know, he plays in that band The Haunted, right? I'm not a really big Haunted fan. It's never really appealed to me, you know what I mean? But I love the personality behind him. So Kerry King is the personality. At the same time, I think would have really done a lot for his image and just connection with his fans. You know, if he's going to be this, you know, the name of the band, the lead guy behind this, you know, I think he needs to just do more out there to be more visible and really connect with the fans. I think that's one of the failures. I think that could have been done handled better. This guy right here, look at that. When that came out back in the 80s, you seeing this on the record shelf, that made you want to pick it up, man. Look at that. I think if they would have released a teaser that sounded like something like a throwback to Hell Awaits, that would have done so much more for him, man. I'm not saying the album has to sound like that, but that would have been so fucking fun, man. He just bring the fun in this, man. Bring the fun back in metal. The danger, bring back the fun too, man. It's just, I don't know. We felt none of that with the new single. I know I'm getting long-winded here with everything, but I feel like I needed to say something, you know, give my thoughts, because I do have a history with this band, like a lot of us. And we felt like we needed to say something. Even for people who claim to hate Slayer and I like Slayer, you know, I've seen them make videos. I think there's been sort of there's just how much of an impact the band has on the metal scene. Slayer has been a big part of our lives, you know. So whether through friends or whatever, you know, a lot of us own these albums, and especially the early material, you know, which most of us do connect to. But every time they release a new album, I've always checked it out anyway, you know. Even if I had a suspicion I'd be disappointed. We're trying to grip on something in a certain kind of way that's not going to be there anymore. Kerry King wants to progress. There's a certain direction he wants to take his music, and he wants us to be along for the ride. He's got a, you know, established team behind this album, so we'll see what they do with this. But I'm not going to already prejudge the whole album based on one track. It's just unfair, you know. And I'm a fair guy, so so you know, I'll leave it at that. But I just gave my thoughts, you know, on the whole matter. So, oh, by the way, so my buddy Geoff, Gasmasks and Hand Grenades, did an interview with Isaac Faulk, blood incantation. And I think that you should definitely check it out. So I'll leave a link for that too. Really good interview, really intimate, with candid questions and all that jazz. So yeah, so everybody keep it dreadful, and thank you for hearing my thoughts on this matter. And I just felt like this is a turning point we're reaching with a lot of these legacy bands and how many are branching off and where they're going with what they want to do with their music. It's just another chapter in Kerry's life, and I think that for him to continue to be motivated to keep doing this, he needs some element of support behind this. So let's not just judge it too harshly quite yet. That's all I'm going to say.